Have you heard of a term called revenge porn?
Yeah.
We are going to discover the origins of that and this man who helped make it so popular.
Hugh Hefner?
Banana Bear Show.
All right, today we are going to be talking about the most hated man on the internet. I don't know if that's self-proclaimed or if that's just what everybody says.
That could change because I've heard that guy that did that whole thing with the prescription was the most hated.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it changes from person to person and whoever you are talking to at the time. But universally, this guy is pretty much, yeah, pretty much scum. So this is Hunter Moore. He he's done some stuff. He's always had money. I don't think he's rich per se, but he's a character to say the least. And he constantly he's just like anybody else we cover. He constantly talks about how good he is at this and how he always has money and he always is. It's like delusion at its finest. Except for he can actually back it up sometimes. He just talks a lot. So this first video is by oh my gosh, who's this by? I always forget. Rise and Fall, Hunter Moore, and is anybody up? So is anyoneUp.com used to be a website where...
It's from Wong.
Yes, Wong. Thank you. Oh yeah, there it is. Huh. So go check him out. This first video is going to be from him. And it kind of talks about how he got into the situation that he was in. So let's go ahead and start watching that.
Internet.
I love
On
Wong.
the internet. 2010 was actually somewhat of a more innocent time. Snapchat had not yet been released, the term revenge porn hadn't been uttered on every single major media outlet yet, and send nudes had yet to become an actual meme.
So this is back before modern internet, basically. So if you didn't catch us, like 2010, 2011, 2012, right in there.
But that all came crashing down when a man named Hunter Moore created a website known as Is Anyone Up? The site made a major impact almost immediately, spreading both by word of mouth and through social media. Personally, I became aware of it by being a part of the touring metalcore band.
Okay, so is anybody up? I'll tell you the quick story of this and then we'll kind of skip around. So he bought the domain because he was going to do something with it, because he was constantly trying to figure out something to do with his money on the internet. He bought it. Him and his friends at the time, they would take pictures of girls nude and send it to each other, or, you know, be an AIM chat and they'd send it back and forth. Well, one day, and this is him telling this, he couldn't send a certain picture to one of his friends. So one of his friends was like, hey, why don't you put it on that website? He put it on there, and then supposedly he left it up for a while and he was going to take it down, and his friends had just started posting other people on there. So there you go. And then it just ballooned from there, and he's like, hey, people are going to my site to make money. I can make money. Why do I need to take it down? So yeah, that's pretty much where that came from.
I specifically all over Facebook, and it leads to a site called isanyoneup.com. And then the next day, there's some girl who goes to shows in some other town whose nudes are leaked, once again on isanyoneup.com. And then the next day, there's another dude, and then another dude, and another guy in a band. Every single day, it seemed like there was a new person whose nudes wound up on isanyoneup.com. What the fuck was going on? Let's be...
So basically, as it ballooned, people started finding their nudes on there, but then also people would leak their nudes on there, because whenever you leaked them, you became king for the day and everybody was talking about you. So say you're a band and you want to get some attention for your new album, you leak on there, people look you up, and then you release your album, and then your album gets a little bump.
Wow.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah, it's messed up, but interesting that people started using it that way. But there's more. There's more.
Begin with the site's creator, Hunter Moore. From a young age, Hunter had been bitten by the bug of entrepreneurship. He knew that he wanted to build something, but he wasn't quite sure what yet. And then he would come into a significant amount of money after winning, ironically, a sexual harassment lawsuit against his old employer.
Okay, so this one is on a later. I watched an interview with him later on, and he kind of talks about all this, and he's very proud. He's very proud of any of this, and he talks about it. He's got a book out. Netflix did a series on him. Ridiculous. So in this lawsuit, and this is him telling the story, so take it for what you will. He was working at this place from a friend of a friend, and that friend was gay. So he hired all these young guys, not underage, I think they were like 19, 20, 21. And the whole thing is they would work, and then he would sexually harass them all the time. And the time that he filed a lawsuit was the guy, like, Hunter would be checking people out, and the guy that hired him would just come up and stick his hands down his pants and be like, oh, make comments, oh, look, you're gay, you're a
banana,
and stuff like that. So yeah, that's him saying it. I don't know. He won the lawsuit, so apparently there was something there. That's kind of icky to make your money and then just be proud of that. I'm just saying.
That money, however, did not get invested into a startup. Rather, it went into a lifestyle of traveling and partying. By 2010, despite all the money that Hunter had come into, he found himself basically penniless once again. But it was those life experiences that gave him the initial idea for IsAnyoneUp.com. A travel guide filled with the scandalous stories of his experiences. Essentially, Is Anyone Up was originally going to be Tucker Max, but with a tourism angle. And so he purchased
I don't know
the
Tucker
URL
Max is.
IsAnyoneUp.com. He then immediately proceeded to procrastinate, party some more, and make absolutely nothing. According to an interview with the poster, somehow came across the site, and one day Moore checked the traffic and realized the site had gotten 14,000 unique hits the day before. And that's when things started to pick up.
Because, if you all didn't know, in that time, there was porn sites on the internet, but it wasn't to the extent of what it is now. And then on top of that, like having that kind of voyeuristic images where people are not supposed to see those images, that was very taboo. Mm-hmm. So all these people, probably very, very young people, flocked to this site. And we're like, ooh, this is naughty.
And thus, Hunter Moore began to grow his massive online collection of scene girl boobs, bandude dicks, and nargoyles. So this site hits the scene, and at first, people are freaking the fuck out. People are fighting with their exes, people are getting canceled, before canceling was America's favorite pastime.
So this site spawned a bunch of what we considered modern pop culture today.
Great!
Expected started to happen. When a person's nudes wound up on IsAnyoneUp.com, although it was kind of embarrassing, those people would kind of become king or queen for a day. All
this
of a sudden,
exactly what I was talking about earlier.
All the attention close to the album release or the tour announcement. People start spreading the site's hashtag NBHNC.
Specifically, supposedly, I guess, it was supposed to be a day to remember. They were one of the few people that got outed for this.
No butthole, no care, and they're getting tattoos of it. And although by many
people actually got tattoos of that
accounts at this point, Hunter Moore was the most hated man on the internet, there was also this weird cult of personality that started to develop around him. There were some people who fell in love with his unapologetic persona, the lack of filter, the way he would respond to hate mail. All of a sudden, he's throwing parties, he's DJing events,
so that devil may not care type attitude, the kind of attitude where it's just like, I don't care, blah, 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 look at this, hate mail. He was basically the first influencer before influencer was a thing. And man, it's just so much stuff he developed in this early period of the internet that just caught on and left him in the dust for reasons we'll talk about in a minute.
Sponsoring tours, which seemed like the best course of action for people who wanted to take him down would be to take him down using copyright laws. And that's just what Facebook attempted to do.
Yep.
Claiming that Hunter Moore had no right to share content from their website, Facebook sent him a cease and desist.
The Zuck came after him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And he fought it. He fought
responded by
Facebook.
sending the lawyers a picture of his dick. And ultimately, there was very little Facebook was able
Nice.
to actually do
I mean-
about this other than giving Hunter a lifetime ban and blocking links to his Anyone Up. That's because due to the fact that all of the content on his Anyone Up was allegedly user-submitted, it was subject to the same protections that content on Facebook was. So despite more than a year of constant legal threats, hate, getting stabbed with a pen, it seemed like nobody could take his AnyoneUp.com down.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he went through a lot, but it was all self-inflicted.
His skills for good. He even started a charity organization called We Party.
Okay. So I'm actually going to play a part of an interview. So in this, he went on Dr. Drew, and Dr. Drew confronted him about a lot of the different allegations that he had over the years with isanyoneup.com. So there was like, underage people getting on there. People started submitting like very, very bad stuff. Like, oh, you'll love this one. Like their pets with their heads cut off, specifically dogs. Yeah. And he had to vet each one. Or he said he vetted each one. I'm sure there were more people than just him because it was so popular. But he went on Dr. Drew, and then apparently after that, it became so popular that he stepped away, sold the URL to a anti-bullying movement, and took his money and ran, basically.
For a cause. And then, a few months later, after being arrested for headbutting a stripper, he announced plans for a brand new website that's just like isanyoneup.com but with a couple new features. My name is Hunter Moore, and I created isanyoneup.com when I was 24 years old. I was broke and sitting on my parents' couch in Sacramento, California, with negative $120 in my bank account. It was for me and my friends to post pictures of girls we were fucking at the time, and somehow, someone found it and it became what it was. I sold it because I hated what the media turned it into, and it could never be what I wanted it to be, and always wanted to troll the lame and boring fad that soccer moms love, and that's bullying. We had too many hackers, too much overhead, and way too many legal problems. This time, I am doing it right. We are going to start off by launching with all the old original IAU content and all new content. The submission page has only been up for 5 full days, and we've done over 7,000 submissions within that time. I am creating something that will question if you will ever want to have kids. I am making something very scary but yet fun. If you remember the old IAU, you will have it back with the mobile app to go along with it, and a very strong social networking site of our trying to do is take Anonymous away from the internet, he said. No more Anonymous submitting.
No more anonymous submitting, so that way he would be taking your name, address, and everything like that. And he's got kind of a history of doxing as well.
Anonymous
Just
responded.
FYI.
They began an operation known as Op Hunt Hunter. This operation led to the posting of Hunter
Yes, you heard that. That is Anonymous attacking him now.
Moore's home address as well as his family's personal information. And on top of this, Hunter also lost a $250,000 defamation suit after he accused the owner of Bullyville.com, the site he sold his Anyone Up to, of being a pedophile. It was clear that Hunter Moore did not mean what he said about changing his ways, so why would he close the site to begin with? One theory claimed that he closed the site after receiving a legal threat from one of the actors of Twilight, whose dick pics wound up on the website. Considering how...
That's theory, and I think he talks more about theories. So we'll move on to the next one, which is, this is the Dr. Drew interview that I was talking about, which kind of shows you where he was at that time.
Well, actually, I didn't mean to set the site up. The site was just born, actually. It was just a couple of friends, and we had our hearts broken by a couple of girls, and we thought we would, make a site. And
he does not say that.
And a couple people got a hold of it, and it became Is Anyone Up? And that's how it's
So I'm playing this interview, and then I'm going to play another interview. Just make note of a couple of things he says now about how it got started and like some of the allegations he's had and stuff like this. Because between then and now, a lot of the answers have kind of changed a little bit. So
started. As far as getting to the point where I wanted to take it down was after my appearance on Anderson Cooper, and with all the
sorry, it was Anderson Cooper was the
attention, we had more weirdos and more weirdos every day submitting to the site, and we were dealing with a ton of underage, pictures that were submitted every day, and a lot of animal abuse, and people that had been submitted and posted on the site in the past who had died within the year that the site would been up. People would find the pictures of them dead.
Oh, that was another problem. He says later on, he claims that girls would post other girls' pictures more than guys were posting pictures, and then girls were posting guys' pictures more. And another thing is girls would get pictures of dead girls that they didn't like and post it on there to make fun of them.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just a heinous sight. The reason I wanted to talk about this guy is because it's a heinous sight when you go back and actually break down what the site was doing. It wasn't just a little harmless site. It was multifaceted on a lot of heinous issues that all he had to do was look at it from an external point of view and be like, this is not good, and close it down. At any point, he could have closed it down. He was the sole owner of everything. There was no stake in the game as far as I know. He could literally just, boom, it's gone. But he chose not to. He lacked the money. And at one point, he says he was making like, I'm wanting to say $50K a month. So it was all about the money.
Duh.
And post them along their nude pictures. And that was the drama I was talking about when I wanted to take the site down, and eventually did. So yeah.
And so let me take you back to the beginning, though, when you put it up in the first place. Why not just good riddance when somebody treats you poorly and just move on? Why do you have to act out with that kind of aggression? Or why create an environment for people to act out aggressively like that? Aren't you concerned that you actually hurt people?
Of course, but when I did start the site, I was hurt, and so was my friends. And it's 2012. I mean, it's everybody has Facebook, everybody has Twitter. It's really easy to put people on blast, and that's pretty much how it started. Of course, my main reasoning was to hurt people and hurt the girl or girls that did hurt me.
And just Hunter, just so we're clear. It's a site where people would basically put up like inappropriate pictures of their exes, like sex texting and that kind of thing that somebody had sent off to someone, and then now they're angry. They're angry now. They're putting up their pictures for everyone to see, and they don't go away. They stay up there forever, right?
Basically, so the site started as
Cope laugh.
Dr. Drew, you would if you sent your penis to somebody and they didn't like you anymore, they could come to my site, submit all the pictures that you sent in a sext, and along with your Facebook or your Twitter, your LinkedIn, or any kind of social networking profile that you had, and we would link it directly to that, so people could see these pictures that you had sent to whoever, and
it's
people
so
could comment and
heartwarming.
share.
So, so heartwarming. So basically, if you didn't catch that, not only was it nude pictures, but it was also they would link their social media. So essentially doxing them in the worst way. The worst way.
It's so hard. It's so romantic. It's such a new age. It's like we're like a friend. They ended up
Okay, Dr.
online.
Drew.
She's with us right now. And Al, you have a question for Hunter?
Yeah, I wanted to know, actually Hunter retweeted me when I tweeted you my question. So all of his followers were tweeting me, calling me a slut, and saying that I deserved what I got for my pictures.
Real good guys.
So I don't really understand how all of a sudden he's all anti-bullying and says that now that since he shut down the site, these girls' pictures are gone forever, because they're not. Once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
What do you think, Hunter?
I mean, well, your
Aw,
original,
shit.
the original thing you said, I think, is that you took pictures topless and you sent them to your boyfriend and they ended up on the internet.
Right.
Correct?
That's the original. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I understand you were. I don't know how you can point your finger at me. You took the picture. I mean, I've been justifying this in my head for over a year and a half of, the site, what I do and the site that I run. But at the end of the day, it started with you and you took these pictures. I don't know how old you are, but I'm sure, you're smart and go to school. I mean, it's 2012. What do you expect to happen? Somebody's going to monetize this. I mean, and I was the person to do it. As far as bullying,
Just because you were the person to do it doesn't make you any less of a sleazeball. I mean, I'm just saying, I understand and I don't disagree with the fact that somebody's going to do it. I do disagree with the fact that you're the one who did it and you're blameless. Like, you're not blameless. If you did it, fine. Own it. Own it.
My main concern is with underage, anything underage, and I'd hate for a Columbine or Virginia Tech, even though that wasn't underage, to ever happen again. My main concern, is online, and the kids that get beat up in school, go home, get on their Facebook, and are still dealing with the same kids that are torturing them at school, and that's my main focus, is to put these people.
Hunter, I mean, it's pretty draconian, buddy, to say, well, if someone's going to do it, I just happen to be the guy that
Exactly.
did it. Let's go to, I have on the line somebody that maybe perhaps at one time you modeled yourself after. Tucker Max just called in. Tucker, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Dr. Drew.
So did you hear what Hunter was saying?
Yeah, I heard it all.
What do you think?
I kind of come down on both sides. On one hand, I understand Hunter's position that if you don't want naked pics on the internet, the best way to solve that problem is to not take naked pictures of yourself.
Well, that's a pragmatic solution.
That's fair.
But how about being the agent that facilitates these things going to a place that kind of ends up in a harmful situation for people?
Yeah.
Well, you're on that hand, I got to agree with you too. If you're going to be the person that kind of spreads sort of toxicity and that sort of negative behavior, then you have to deal with the consequences. And I don't really know a whole lot about Hunter, to be honest. I had to look him up. I knew about his site, but I didn't really know about him. It seems to me like he's started to suffer a lot of the consequences of leading that life and running that site, and that's kind of why he took it down, from my understanding. I could be wrong.
Is that thank you, Tucker. And by the way, I hope you get over your flu there, buddy.
I don't want to hurt people. I don't like people suffering. And the site, it got a little too crazy too fast. But yeah, I mean, I was more concerned with the underage stuff. I mean, I don't like looking at little kids naked, and I had to do it every single day. And that's what I got myself into. And
He's referencing that people submit, user submissions, so he had to go through them. So I understand that. Like, that would suck.
yeah, there was, like I said before.
That's not disgusting.
But there is something I want to mention, and I want you to think about it. How did he verify the ages of people who were a little bit older? If it's just user submission, it's usually not the people who are submitting them in the pictures. It's usually other people. So think about that one for a second.
All right.
That is
Let me take another caller.
Yeah, that is
Hang
disgusting.
Attention,
How old? Very
not
minimum.
taking his sister. Excuse
Now,
me.
and I'm telling you,
Okay, that's
you
all
tell
for
the school
Ooh.
help out.
That's all for that one. Move on to the next one. So this was an interview with James English. Oh, okay. Good channel. He interviews people and kind of just lets them say whatever. He'll ask them pretty tough questions. He's a little hard to understand. I think he's very Irish, I think is the accent, or Scottish. One of those, maybe Scottish. I'm not good with the accents, so you'll be able to tell you when you'll know for sure. So this was about a year ago, and he served prison time. So he eventually went to prison because an underage photo was put on there, or I think it was underage, and what he says was it was by a very wealthy daughter of a wealthy couple, and the guy owned the building above the jury. He knew all the people that were indicting him and stuff like that. So it was kind of it's going to happen. And it was kind of pushed into there, which I don't disagree with him. Like, I think, you piss off the wrong people, especially people in power with money, you're gonna get in trouble, and they're gonna try and throw you under the bus. He ended up serving, like, I think it was 3-4 years, 2-3-4 years, somewhere in there. They were wanting to give him the minimum 14 or 15 years. But he kind of weaseled out of that one because there was a law change right before he got sentenced, and he'll talk about that. But here's a more recent interview.
Sure, yeah. Well, my name's Hunter Moore. I grew up right outside Sacramento, California. I don't know I'm sure the demo for you is the UK, right? Or English and whatever. So California, I know when people think of California, especially in Europe, they just think of Los Angeles. Well, I'm up. Yeah, and then that's kind of actually, I think that's what segued me into being a complete scumbag, because I just learned how to, like.
Also, he doesn't live in the U.S. anymore. He lives in Colombia because he says he's a complete nationalist, which is interesting that he says that in this day and age. But he can't come back here. He's too afraid of getting prosecuted again.
Like, bang girls at the mall, and it just sent me.
And also, as you listen to this, think back to, like, talking around, like, 2011, 2012. You've kind of got that freestyle. Like, you go back and look at YouTube videos, we talked a completely different way. He still talks like that. He talks like he was pulled straight out of the 90s, early 2000s.
On that pathway, I think, partying and all that stuff. So that would probably be like my first real job was Zoomies. And then,
Yeah. So a kid who's got a good family background, good mum and dad, like, you never done well at school, but you left, you got a job, like, you're basically just doing like any teenager would do, want to make a bit of money, fuck girls, like the basic stuff in life, if we're honest. But how did is anyoneUp.com come about?
Well, so I mean, basically everything that's out there online is a lie, and it's mostly on my
as
part
everyone
too,
says this.
I would bait the media about, just like people do now, like trying to,
You'll hear that a lot in this interview too. It's like, oh, this is not convenient anymore. I'm going to change what actually happened.
Out there in traffic and all this stuff. So I never really gave a promotion company. I had parties in Sydney, Australia, New York City, San Francisco, whatever. And to promote all my parties, I would put it on a website. And that website, I named it isanyoneup.com. And so I would just post all the flyers on there for my friends and share them on, at the time, it was just Facebook and MySpace, and that's how Is Anyone Up started.
What was the first post on it?
The first post ever was just a flyer to one of my parties.
So you see how that changed from what we got before to this interview now. Because I'm pretty sure that the video we first watched was released before this.
But if you're referring to, like, when it became Is Anyone Up, there was this really famous band at the time called Bless the Fall, and I was banging this dude's girlfriend, and I wanted to show my buddy Carlos the pictures, and my friend Lally the pictures of the girl, because she was so fine, right? And at the time, this was on I don't know if you remember AOL Instant Messenger. Immediately afterwards, the money came. So it was like that fear and that that moral.
This website, it's not about revengeful exes or revenge porn at the time. You're just doing it for flyers, parties, drugs, girls. Like, you've started it off just
I hear it now.
Maybe grow a network, and obviously it's grew arms and legs. But was it, see, when you started getting hits on it?
It was bodybuildingforum.com, and they posted it, and overnight,
God, I remember Bodybuilder.
It just went from 0 to a fucking million. And
there's a lot of thoughts on that.
Like, when it started, like you're saying, it started getting hits. It was more like, it wasn't like a dopamine rush or like a drug at first. It was like, whoa, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is crazy. This is uncharted waters. Maybe I should take this down. Like, what is this? But then immediately afterwards, the money came. So it was like that fear and that that moral foundation that I had was completely out the fucking
Sure,
window
bud.
because now money was involved. And so I didn't really have that time to really process what was going on, or I didn't have anybody around me to be like, yo, let's pump the brakes here real quick. It was just like, dude, I'm fucking doing it,
So he had yes men. Any thoughts you wanna say so far, Quorum? Anything
No,
stands out?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
He's
yeah, I hope
explaining
that
everything.
answers your question a little bit.
How old were you at the time, Hunter?
Oh man, I was like
Hunter?
22, 23, something like that. Maybe 21. It wasn't anything that was meant to be malicious at first.
Oh, not
It was
malicious.
just kind of this thing that was like jokes, and it like we had major record labels buying advertisements for bands. Like it was a very open and accepted thing. It didn't have that stigma yet. When
Right.
Forbes came into
Doesn't make it right.
into the picture, it was the journalist Kashmir Day, I believe. She's the one that coined the term revenge porn. Revenge porn was a niche that was for ex-girlfriend porn videos online. Like, but it looked amateur, but it was porn produced. I don't know if this is like, and so I'm just going to call it revenge porn in this article. And that's kind of how the term got coined.
She gave him the option of what he could call it. So she's like, "Hey, I'm going to call it this."
But I know I keep rambling, but it wasn't anything that was malicious at first. For maybe the first year, it was all just good fun and people submitting themselves. It wasn't like,
pretty sure that's a lie.
How the Netflix documentary.
I mean, literally, his first post was him posting about another girl, and then his friends posting about other people, or at least that's what he said in the beginning. I tend to believe with what was said back then.
Sneaking in everyone's phones and stuff.
Yeah, because it kind of portrays that you upload everything, you're hacking.
So this is another thing I have an issue with. He talks about hacking and the Netflix special talking about him like making it sound like he hacked into people's phones. Hacking can be as simple as grabbing somebody's phone and sending that message to yourself. I mean, and now you have a picture that they didn't necessarily want you to see, and then you upload it to a site. That person was hacked. There's no way to prove that.
People, you are sending nudes, you're taking people's private photos. Like all the interviews you've done was kind of, it looks bad if I'm honest. Like, they've just been thrown under the bus. Listen, it's obviously you're here to tell your side of the story today, and that's what it's all about. Do you know what I mean? But how did it then, when like girls' nude photos are uploaded and they're requesting to get them took down?
So, okay. So you gotta understand. Like I said before.
Remember that question I told you to think about earlier? That thing I told you to think about earlier about how would he verify?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is.
This went from 0 to 100 really fucking quick. I had to build out a whole system myself because okay, how do I explain it? So
how can I lie?
I'm a young, stupid, retarded kid, right? And the site took off from 0 to 100. My main concern at the time, which was my only concern, I don't know. I've been to prison. Have you been to prison? I think you've been to prison. I don't know. I fucking hate sex offenders, and I hated them before I ever went to prison. So my only main goal was to make sure that everybody was 18 years old. That was my only fucking concern. If I was going to continue doing this and monetizing it, I need to make sure people are 18. So I built a whole system to make sure that when people submitted pictures, that they would submit it. They would have to fill out a whole form, and you'd have to supply EXIF data, and then I can't say too much because I don't want to get any more legal trouble, but we had a way of checking IDs, and we would match it up with the EIX. I don't know if you know what EXIF data is at all. No. So a digital photo, like say you take it on your phone, that's why we only took digital photos, is it'll give you longitude, latitude, lens flare, the whole 9 yards, and a date of when that picture was taken. if you screen cap a picture and send that picture, it won't have the EXIF data on it. So you would have to provide the original image, so that way the dates would line up. We would put it through our system. And at the end of the day, I had 5 people that were age verifying, and
Corn. So if you send a screenshot, it wouldn't match up. However, what if you took a picture of a picture? I'm just saying, the way it sounds is he's basically saying BS.
No. This was brought up in that court thing with what's his name? With Johnny Depp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What he's talking about, the data stuff.
Uh-huh.
You can tell between a photo of a photo, because one of the photos was the original, and then the next time the photo was taken, it was like a photo of the photo, so the things didn't match up. So
okay,
I don't know if it's a good verification, but the process is real.
Right. I know the process is real, but I don't think you can use it as age verification. You can. I don't know. I've been thinking about it, and it sounds like BS. Like, I understand there's a process in place, and I just don't think it's a very good one. It's about as probably effective as putting up an age gate that says, "Are you 18 or older?" Yes. Just because maybe I'm wrong. If somebody else knows how it works, please put it in the comments, because I'm not the smartest person in the world. it just sounds like BS. It doesn't sound like. I don't think any age verification is very good on the internet, even today. You've got IDs. I mean, that's the biggest age verification I've seen. Because you can hack your way around any kind of gate, even today.
Then it would get passed on to, then you would get posted on the site, right? As far as the hacking or any of that bullshit, it was more like at the beginning, like, dude, I had hundreds of millions of unique hits a day. Like, I didn't need to, like, we were getting so many photos and videos. It wasn't like I didn't need to hack anything.
Again, he may not have personally hacked anybody's stuff, but anybody who sent him a photo of somebody that they took that photo from somebody else, that's hacked material that you're posting on your site. So,
for hacking and doing all of that stuff, but because it was associated with me and Is Anyone Up, they gave me the conspiracy charge. So I transferred all this, who was a friend, my Rami, who was in my case where I got the money at the I told you that guy sexually harassed me and I won the money. Well, I hired my friend from that store.
So we talked about that earlier in this video. I've already went over it. So,
and he was going to San Diego State University. He knew a guy. They were in the club scene, and they were just getting pictures for me. But this was just one of.
They were just getting pictures for him. Wonder how many of those people he age verified.
Of people that we were buying photos from, and
just saying,
the feds wanted me. I was way too loud. They were doing anything they could to get me. They were seizing my servers constantly, and they found a hole with me, purchasing photos as a commodity, which was a huge mistake. Obviously, I wish I had never done that. And yeah, the guy was hacking them, and I got a conspiracy charge. So he was arrested for hacking and doing all of that stuff. But because it was associated with me and Is Anyone Up, they gave me the conspiracy charge. So I transferred all of his charges onto me. They had him rat on me and my other co-defendant, and they gave me all the charges. And obviously I was the name and all that stuff. So I got my co-defendant's
you were
charges.
the person.
I don't know who he is.
You were the person behind those people. Conspiracy. You conspired with them to get more material. Huh?
The RICO Act.
Nice.
I don't even know what the fuck he looks like. So yeah, that's basically what happened.
It's not really giving a fuck at the time.
No, and it's I don't know. I mean, I think you could probably relate, maybe, I don't know, to being 20 years old and getting all the pussy you want, and just like I went from 0 to 100, you know, and that awesome moral foundation that I started with, when it was truly put to the test, I just said fuck it, you know what I mean? And you know,
Yeah.
we live and we learn.
Yeah, we know.
So.
Do you feel you need to have that fuck it button when you are doing such things like that, like where you just had to switch off completely?
Yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah, it was more like, well, you know, if I'm going to do this, I guess we might as well jump in, you know?
Exactly my point. He did not care. He was just like, mug it. We're doing this. Money. Yeah, I saw it.
And I was like, okay, guys, like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, you guys aren't going to give me any financial compensation. Like, what the fuck am I getting out of this, you know?
Okay, so when he was in prison, Netflix went to do a documentary on him, like Tiger King.
Mm-hmm.
He said no. He said yes at first. He was gung ho for it, and then he turned around after people were like, "Hey, all right, do you really want to give them this information and just kind of let them go at it?" And then he's like, "Wait, yeah, that's right." And his main thing, like even just then you heard it, was, "Oh wait, you guys aren't going to compensate me? I think I'm going to back out," which obviously they can still do it. They just did not have his back or his support.
They fucking accidentally CC'd me. It was a BCC on the whole fucking, like, all of them chatting about me. And they were all talking shit about me, the producers and stuff. So I replied back and I was like, yo, fuck you guys. Like, if you do, you know, I just went crazy and I hired a defamation attorney and all this other shit. And that was where the fallout was.
And that also happened.
And so they didn't
but I think it was more the compensation.
But yeah, I ended up, I was going to do it, but then I reneged on it. I was just said, fuck it. And I'm glad I didn't do it. So anyways.
What's the law for them using your name and your photos and stuff? Like,
there is none, as long as they don't like say he did something that he completely did not do.
On that site than there was vaginas. Just letting you know. You could go to the Wayback Machine and look at how Is Anyone Up was. I mean, I don't know if you want to look at a bunch of penises, but anyway, I'm just saying, like, it's just convenient the way they tell this story, and that's because, you know, excuse my language, the whole media is ran by gays and females and radical feminists. So of course they're not going to say anything about the men.
I mean, I don't disagree, but just the way he's able to say that, it's like
the gays.
he definitely has a mindset back in the early 2000s still.
They're called LGBTQ plus.
But another thing I want to kind of hit on there is he's trying to say, you know, this is where he's trying to be like, well, it wasn't just women on there. It was women submitting the guys too, you know. You can go back and see it. It's like, yeah, duh.
But
that's just as bad.
Their boyfriends or boys or whatever, girls submitting themselves and girls on the comments talking about other girls. So it's not like, this wasn't like the hack stuff was just like a 0.5%.
Okay. So also catch that. No, I didn't hack. 0.5%.
Of what all the content was on the site. And we had articles, segments, there was all kinds of shit. It wasn't just fucking pictures of naked people. I mean, there was, but there was a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I just think the idea of it's just really frustrating. I'm sorry, man. That the idea of the site has just been so twisted by the media. It's like
it's not been twisted.
It was fun and it was awesome.
It was a bad site,
but there was men and women. It wasn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're equally bad.
It was Is Anyone Up? Or sorry, it was OnlyFans before OnlyFans. You know what I mean?
OnlyFans, except for the people you put on there, don't get any compensation at all.
Well, he does.
I mean, yes, he does. He takes their compensation and gives them nothing.
When did it start? When did you start feeling the heat from, like, the police and stuff? Like, was that later on, or was there always concerns?
No, so the last like 6 to 8 months, I had completely stepped away from the site, and it was because at that time I was I rented a Maserati because I was like fucking out of my mind, right? And I rented a Maserati, and we were driving to Reno, Nevada, and I hadn't smoked weed in like 10 years. And I'm with all my friends and we're like just doing bumps and smoking, and fuck, it hit me, dude. Like the weed hit me, and and we're driving, and it looked like I was driving completely up. Like that's how high I was. And I got a phone call from my business manager, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "What? I'm driving, going party." And he's like, "The FBI just raided our servers and just took everything, the sites down." And I was like, "What?" And I was high out of my mind, dude. And I just like, I thought I was gonna have a fucking heart attack. I had to pull over, and he was just like freaking out. Like I could hear him shaking. And then my server guy called me, and he's like, "The feds are at my door, dude. They want all the access to all the servers and all this crazy shit." And like, yeah, it was horrible, man. And then
Obviously, it's love and
I can't stand this guy.
hate. Then, like people did love you and backed everything you done, and obviously,
like the bandwidth that it's just the technology wasn't really there to serve videos back then. You know what I mean? Like people were on find like pictures of a girl that maybe died, that they knew that died in a car accident.
Oh yeah,
It
this
was
is
a
messed
music
up.
scene. But once the mainstream media caught on, that's when all the fucking weirdos came out. Like all of the weirdos, dude. And so that's when we started getting like CP, you know. Then we started getting like death, what I call death revenge, was, and it was always women or girls. They would find like pictures of a girl that maybe died, that they knew that died in a car accident or hung themselves, and they got pictures and they would submit that making fun of the person, or people cutting off dogs' heads and having sex with them, like just crazy shit. And that's why I stepped back and I had a team take over, because it was,
Yeah, that's
4chan.
it. Yeah. Okay, fair.
That's not on
it
him.
was just
That's
too
not.
much.
That's other people.
No, yeah, that's not on him. But I'm sure it happened before that. Like after he had that interview and it became real popular. I'm sure he had that stuff before then. He just likes to downplay. It's like, oh, whenever I was making my money, we were fine. Nothing was happening. It's okay. Doubtful. But I do believe that that all of that is on the people. But he could have stopped it at any time.
Yeah, I mean, when you said you were going to cover this guy, I didn't do any research on him. I just did like a little thing. I'm just like, maybe he's just an asshole. This is mostly for like the locals, and I can see somewhat of it. But a lot of the problems is that he just wanted the money, which makes him an asshole, a complete dick, scum of the earth. But it doesn't make him like he didn't cause, the pics to go on. Now, him buying those photos, yeah, and that's why he got the jail time.
Yep.
But he didn't ask for underage. He didn't ask for the dog being beheaded.
Right.
That's the internet, buddy.
Oh yeah, no,
that's
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problems on this stuff, it's glorified 4chan. 4chan has all this shit. They take it off when they see it, right? Not the dog stuff. They still have that crap because that's not against federal law. State laws, yeah, but I see where you're coming. Where this guy's a real like Wolf of Wall Street piece of shit, kind of like that guy. But like, I don't know. Would he be a loco?
I mean, that I could see if he goes back and he does the same thing again and then gets in trouble again, definitely.
But that just makes him a fucking idiot.
I mean, yeah, but I like to delve into these people too. Like I know we cover locales most of the time, but Internet Degenerates covers a whole lot of people. And whenever I came up with like the idea, like I had these people in mind, like the more not locales, but more put together people who did it knowingly on purpose. So that's what I like to cover more.
I mean, it's just the American dream. He's trying to, making money off of nudie photos that he didn't have to do himself.
Right.
Everyone else did. Everything that he did, he vetted, right?
Right.
And you said that like it's kind of shady. Like, yeah, because I don't know everything about that process.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure, like, he attempted to make sure he could keep getting money. But then when he realized, oh shit, this is a swamp now. This is just filled with muck. He tried getting away from it, and then he tried doing the same thing again. And then basically, because what he was doing was like, basically, I guess you could call it neutral evil. Spreading some chaos. You have Anonymous, which is funny because Anonymous, they're known for doxing people.
Yeah.
But they don't, but they're anonymous.
That is pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I don't think this was the old Anonymous. So if you guys don't know, the original Anonymous, they were scary. Because if you did something and if you were in their crosshairs, you're done. But then, like, the ones that went after Scientology and all that stuff, that was the new Anonymous. Like, they were like, oh, we're a group, we're a party. No, Anonymous means nobody. We're nobody.
Yep.
Like, you don't know who is attacking you, but you know we're there. But then you have this group of, we're Anonymous, we're going to protest. No, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
There's another part I kind of want to end on a
as long as
nice note
paid,
or a funny note, not nice.
It's been so long, and I mean, definitely though, if you were exploited on the site, I think, maybe you should definitely get some compensation. But
exploited on the site, you should get some compensation. Who should they get that compensation from, though, sir?
It's not him. He doesn't own the site anymore.
You seem to have manipulated you knew how to play the media very well for your own advantage.
Right.
So he talks about playing the media, and it talks about how good he is and blah, blah, blah. It's very frustrating. I'm going to skip all that.
Prison and, just learned a lot, sing songs, got to smoke peace pipes and all kinds of shit. I mean, to be honest, dude, prison was fucking awesome. It was kind of one of the probably better times of my life. Like, I learned a lot. Met amazing people. It was awesome, to be honest. I mean, it was horrible at the same time, but yeah.
Do you think
awesome prison experience? Awesome.
Matured you a bit and seen the world a bit
I
differently?
mean, probably the butt rape's the worst part.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, in some ways, but I am still who I am. You know what I mean? But yeah, it definitely did. But there was some horrific shit in there that kind of fucked me up, and I still kind of like PTSD from that shit. But
like what?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Just watching people die. And shit
just
like
got
that.
asked, that sort of
bullshit.
thing.
But and I lost 2 friends in there, which was fucked up. But it just it puts it into reality. I got a reality check a little bit in that sense, because I've never failed at anything, which that was like another big like hurdle for me, is that everything I've ever done, I've always been successful at. It doesn't matter, like every business, everything. Like I start as anyone up, and it just blows up. Like I start doing
very
Twitter,
relatable.
it blows up. Like everything I do, I've always fucking excelled at. But then I failed, and I had to learn to fail. And I think learning to fail is actually more important than succeeding. And I think that was probably one of the bigger lessons.
I hate this guy. I remembered that, and I heard that, and I just wanted to share that with you.
I see why you hate him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I could see some upvotes on him for being, an entrepreneur, being a sleazebag entrepreneur, still making money.
It never fails in anything. Never.
No, he said he at the time, but now he had to learn to.
Until he went to prison. So here is the little funny kind of thing I want to end on. This person is in on the joke that he's getting ready to talk about. So yeah, here you go.
Put 2 knives in their buttholes and fucking like crazy shit, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the site was insane, and people would do like you're just thinking like I'm on here posting people's pics, like haha, fuck you. Here's your Twitter account. No, dude, this was people like we would hold challenges and raffles and all kinds of shit. Butthole Girl, she wanted to be famous so fucking bad, and I think you could probably tell that from her being in this Netflix documentary. I mean, no one knew you were Butthole Girl anymore. Now you're literally Butthole Girl till the day you fucking die. So she wanted to be famous. She hit me up and she was like, "Can you make me a website?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll make you a website." Which I had no intention of making her a fucking website. She was just on cam and wanted to get naked. And I was like, "Okay, well, let me record this video and for Is Anyone Up?" And which the video, you can go on efucked.com and it's still there, which the webmaster is amazing. But if you
I
don't
did
see
not go
the
there.
whole video, it's really awesome. efucked.com. I think it's just webmaster tells girl to stick something in her butt or something. I don't know. Anyway, she was like, she told me she had a magical butthole. That's how we obviously. So why wouldn't, bro? Come on, I'm 20 something years old. Like, you telling me you have a magic butthole and I get to watch you put stuff in it? Like, why the fuck wouldn't I do that? Like, are you out of your fucking mind? You wouldn't watch that? Like, just to watch it? I'd still do that now. Anyways, so she, you don't have to answer, but so she, dude,
I'll answer it when the cameras are off, bro.
so she's sitting there. She's
But wait, there's more.
putting odor eaters in her butt, fucking deodorant, like all the, like, dude, she's filming around the house and I'm like, yeah, stick that in your ass, stick that in your ass. And then I was like, put your phone in your ass and let me call it. And so she put her phone in her ass and it vibrated up. Like, dude, and then she let me put it on the website. And then we started, every week we would have a poll and people would vote on the objects that they wanted Butthole Girl to stick in her butt. And then she would stick those in her butt. Like that. So anyways, the fact.
You're welcome.
What?
I know that information, so now you do too. But yeah, with that, he's just, he doesn't seem like he learned anything, and it seems like he could potentially make the same mistake over and over again. Maybe even something worse. He is definitely not a locale right now, but I just don't like him. He's an internet degenerate in my book. Not as bad as some of the other people we've covered, but he's up there. Most hated guy on the internet, he's up there. I don't like him personally, and I think a lot of the stuff he didn't necessarily do, but he let things happen on a website that he created and pushed, and as he says, he never failed at anything, so he was successful at this website. He pushed a lot of heinous stuff. But I completely agree with your assessment of the whole situation, Corum, as far as, you know, it was not his fault that it was on there. It was people who took the pictures, number one, and then the people who posted it, number two. So,
yeah.
Any thoughts? Other than what you've already said?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that Scottish guy did the interview.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like, go check out Anything Goes with James English. He seems like a good guy, like down to earth. He lets people say what they want to say. Very refreshing on, you know, the YouTube we have now, which is very hard to actually talk about things that are real without getting either demonetized or canceled or both.
Yeah.
All the above. But with that, be sure to like, subscribe, leave in the comments what you think of this guy. Is he a locale? Could he eventually be a locale? Is he just an internet degenerate? What are your thoughts? And we'll see you next video. Bye.
What the fuck?